Hi kids, I'm Josiah Melky. Welcome to Disney Animation Reviews. Today is our last day in the Disney Renaissance era. And thank goodness, this era ended on a success. Today we're talking about Disney's 37th animated motion picture, Tarzan. Based off the book by Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan has been adapted numerous times before this, but this was the first time that anyone chose to do an animated feature film version of Tarzan, which surprised Thomas Schumacher at the Walt Disney Studios when they decided they were going to do Tarzan. That they were the first one that was going to do the film in feature film animation. Luckily, Tarzan turned out to be a big hit. It came out in the summer of 1999. And was one of the few films that was a true success during '99, because most of their other films they had some box office flops, like My Favorite Martian, and then there were other films during '99 that were box office successes, like Doug's First Movie, based off the animated cartoon show of the same name, Doug, and the live-action Disney film Inspector Gadget, which were box office successes, but critical flops. Really, only two feature films from Disney during this year were successes. Tarzan, and of course, Disney and Pixar's feature film for '99, Pixar's third feature film and first sequel, Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 turned out to be an even bigger hit than the first Toy Story, or A Bug's Life. Whereas those films each made over $300 million worldwide, Toy Story 2 made almost $500 million worldwide. And like the original Toy Story, has a perfect 100% rating on the Rotten Tomatoes site. Toy Story 2 also went on to receive a Golden Globe Award for Best Picture, making it Pixar's first and only Golden Globe winner of such an honor, and the third and final animated victor of that award overall, after Beauty and the Beast and the Lion King. Years later, they would introduce the Golden Globe Award for Best Animated Feature, but that's a while from now. Disney's Tarzan, released in the summer of 1999, made about $450 million worldwide, making it Disney's biggest animated box office success since The Lion King. It also got really good reviews, and won quite a few awards, but accolades aside, the movie Tarzan is a great film. I really like it. Can't say whether I know I don't like it better than Aladdin or Lion King, but it is still a very good film. So let's talk about it. One interesting thing that they do with Tarzan from the beginning is they don't have dialogue for the first, 10 minutes of the movie. Instead, we get the opening, which the first half of those first 10 minutes is through the opening song by Phil Collins, and then, after the song's over, we get the rest of it without dialogue. It's all pantomime. It's all acting. At the start of the film, a baby boy and his parents escape a burning ship and are marooned in the jungles of Africa, where the parents build a tree house to protect themselves and their baby. Out in the jungle, a gorilla family, led by Kerchak and his mate Kala, have a baby baboon, a baby gorilla, that they lose to Sabor, the leopard. Kala, of course, is heartbroken, and then one day hears a baby cry in the woods, and finds the treehouse, where it's revealed that the baby's parents have also been killed by Sabor. Kala rescues the baby boy from Sabor, and he becomes her child, much to the disapproval of Kerchak, but reluctant acceptance. Kala names him Tarzan, hence the name of the movie. And as years pass, Tarzan grows into a strong little boy who does get into a little bit of trouble, but his best friend, a gorilla named Turk, helps him along his path. They also team up with a somewhat neurotic elephant named Tantor. But our story really kicks off in Tarzan's adulthood. After killing Sabor and starting to earn the respect of Kerchak, Tarzan discovers other humans like himself, including Jane Porter, an English woman who gets into trouble with some angry baboons, but Tarzan saves her. And as the film progresses, Tarzan is torn between his desire to see the humans and be more like them, or to stay with his gorilla family and help them when hunters come to take the gorillas captive. One thing that I like about Tarzan is the fantastic animation. I've mentioned this before, computer animation came a long way during the Renaissance era, But Tarzan really kicked it up a notch when Disney animators came up with the Deep Canvas program. This animation software, Deep Canvas, helped them create three-dimensional backgrounds that the 2D animated characters could interact with, particularly when Tarzan is swinging and surfing on vines through the jungle. That's the 2D animated Tarzan with the 3D animated treetop backgrounds. It's fantastic. Later Disney films like Brother Bear and Home on the Range tried to do that, but none of them match up to Tarzan. Also, the characters are pretty good. Tarzan himself isn't my favorite protagonist in Disney feature animation, but he is a strong male lead who's open to change and is willing to learn new things. And his supervising animator is Disney animator Glenn Keane, who came up with the idea of Tarzan being a surfer from watching his son skateboarding and snowboarding. Jane is a pretty good female character, and when she and Tarzan first meet, they can't understand each other right away like Pocahontas and John Smith do, but they eventually grow to understand each other's worlds, and they become a pretty good couple. Clayton's pretty two-dimensional as far as villains go. He just wants to capture the gorillas and sell them, but he's okay, I guess. The voice of Kala, Tarzan's adoptive gorilla mother, is Glenn Close, who played Cruella de Vil in the live-action 101 Dalmatians films. She's incredibly good in the voice acting. Turk and Tantor, Tarzan's sidekicks, are basically the jungle versions of Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King, but they're pretty good as Disney sidekicks. Some of the vocal performances are kind of weak. I'm not a fan of Tony Goldwyn's Tarzan, but I really love Turk and Tantor's vocal performances by Rosie O'Donnell and Wayne Knight. That Rosie O'Donnell is fantastic. You know, some people have gotten tired of her following when she got her own TV show, but I think she's really good. And by the way, in the book, Turk's a boy, and they were going to do that for the movie, but after Rosie's audition, they changed Turk to a girl, and Tantor was created exclusively for the movie. He's not in the book. One thing that, I think probably my favorite thing about Tarzan, however, is the music. But before we get to that, I'll mention the main filmmakers. Tarzan was directed by Disney animator Kevin Lima, who previously directed a Goofy movie, and later directed the live-action Disney films 102 Dalmatians and Enchanted. And in his directing debut, Disney character designer, story guy, and animator Chris Buck, who later co-directed Sony Animation's Surf's Up and Disney's Frozen. And the producer of Tarzan is Bonnie Arnold, one of the producers of Toy Story, who now works as a producer at DreamWorks Animation. She produced Over the Hedge and the How to Train Your Dragon films. Back to the music, the score in Tarzan is done by film composer Mark Mancina, who had also helped a bit with music on The Lion King. But the real highlight of Tarzan's music is the songs by rock star Phil Collins. Early on in the film, it was decided that Tarzan would not sing. The directors just couldn't picture somebody like Tarzan breaking out into song. So instead, Phil Collins not only wrote the songs, but he also sings them, and acts as like the narrator of the story when he does that. There are some instances where the characters sing. Kala sings the beginning of the lullaby, You'll Be in My Heart, and Turk, of course, has my favorite song in the movie, Trash in the Camp. But otherwise, it's Phil Collins singing / narrating the story with these songs. And he's really good. The directors wanted to have a well-known singer and songwriter working on the songs for Tarzan, similar to Elton John on The Lion King. And Phil Collins just knocks that out of the park. I think probably my two favorite songs are Strangers Like Me, and particularly Trash in the Camp. The song that won the Oscar, however, was You'll Be in My Heart, the lullaby. Figures. You'll Be in My Heart was actually the first song from an animated Disney feature film to actually win an Oscar since Pocahontas' Colors of the Wind, and the last one for more than a decade to actually win Walt Disney Animation Studios a feature film Oscar for years until Frozen came along. Honestly, I really don't have much else to say about Tarzan. It's probably not my most favorite from the Disney Renaissance era, but I really, really do like it. And I'm really glad they ended on something successful like Tarzan. So definitely check this one out. Tarzan had a bit of a franchise. A TV series called The Legend of Tarzan premiered in fall of 2001, but only lasted for about 1.5 years, and only 2 seasons with like 40 episodes. centering on Tarzan and Jane after the film when they live in the jungle together and the different adventures they go on. 3 of the episodes were compiled into the direct-to-video sequel, Tarzan and Jane, released in the summer of 2002. And just like Hercules Zero to Hero, the episodes are all within a single focused narrative. In Tarzan and Jane's case, it's the 1-year anniversary of their marriage. We're not exactly told when this happened. But Jane is trying to figure out how to mark the occasion, so she gets help from Turk and Tantor. And we get 3 stories talking about what an exciting year it's been for them and Tarzan. The only disappointing thing about Tarzan and Jane for me, besides the animation, is that none of the original voice cast comes back, which is a bit of a disappointment. A direct-to-video midquel, Tarzan 2, was released in the summer of 2005. I say midquel because, like Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, and Lion King 1.5, it takes place during the events of the original film. Specifically, Tarzan 2 takes place during Tarzan's childhood, where he has trouble fitting in, so he sets out to find his place in the jungle and make some new friends along the way. Glenn Close and Lance Henriksen return to voice Kala and Kerchak, while young Tarzan, Turk, and Tantor are all recast. Plus, we've got some new characters voiced by the late George Carlin, Estelle Harris, Brad Garrett, and Ron Perlman. The Tarzan sequels aren't my favorites, but they're okay, I guess. Tarzan also had a Broadway musical adaptation that opened in spring of 2006, but only lasted for a little more than a year and closed shortly after due to poor ticket sales. I've just listened to the music from Tarzan on Broadway on YouTube the other day. It's good, but I can understand why it wasn't successful. Tarzan's latest home video release was its Blu-ray debut in the summer of 2014. Unlike the Hercules Blu-ray edition, though, Tarzan has plenty of bonus features to keep families occupied. There's deleted scenes, audio commentary, behind-the-scenes material, music videos, and a Disneypedia on the different jungle animals you see in the movie. So that's it for the Disney Renaissance era. I'm really glad Tarzan was successful when it was. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. And keep yourselves steady because we've got another rough age of Disney films that were moderately successful to big-time failures coming up in the coming weeks. So stay with me. We'll get out of these waters in a couple weeks or so. But just be warned, we've got some rough times coming up ahead for Disney feature animation. Well, we're out of time for today, kids. Remember, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Goodbye!